Welcome. Come on in. Gather round the fire, friends, where the snow falls in sheets and shadows grow long. This isn't the season of cheer. Not here. In these tales, carols turn to cries, gifts bring dread, and the warmth of the hearth can't stop the cold of what waits beyond the door. I'm Sam Hain, and tonight we'll unwrap the darker side of Christmas. After all, winter isn't the only thing that bites. The first thing Isla noticed was the snow. It seemed thicker here, undisturbed and unnaturally pristine. As the couple's car crawled up the narrow track through the dense Scottish pines, the ancient, gabled cabin finally appeared through a veil of falling flakes. To her, it looked like something from a forgotten postcard, nestled deep in the Cairngorms. It's perfect, isn't it? Rob said, his voice a mix of excitement and relief. His hand rested lightly on hers, seeking reassurance. Isla nodded and smiled, though a faint unease twisted in her stomach. Yeah, it's exactly what we wanted. No phone signal, no crowds, just us. A crackling fire and a white Christmas. The cabin's heavy wooden door resisted at first, as though reluctant to admit them, but it finally groaned open. A burst of cold air followed them inside, ruffling the dusty tartan curtains. They dropped their bags by the stone fireplace, the air inside frigid despite the closed windows. Rob busied himself with the fire, while Isla took in the surroundings. Everything was rustic and simple. A wooden table with 4 chairs, an old iron stove, and faded photographs on the mantel. A smiling family, captured in time. Looks like someone had their own Christmas tradition here, she murmured, studying the faces. A man, a woman, a boy of about 8, and a little girl with braids. Their eyes, though smiling, seemed almost too intense, too focused. I'll get the fire going, Rob said, rubbing his hands. We'll be toasty in no time. But even as the flames crackled to life, warmth seemed reluctant to spread. That night, the storm outside raged. The wind howled through the trees like something alive. But inside, the fire held the chill at bay, and the couple's laughter rose and fell as they shared wine and stories by candlelight. Merry Christmas, love, Rob whispered, leaning in to kiss her. The clock above the mantel chimed midnight, a hollow, echoing sound, as if in response a muffled thud came from somewhere above them. Isla pulled back. Did you hear that? Rob glanced at the ceiling. Probably just the roof settling. It's an old place. Yeah, you're right. They retreated to the bedroom, the warmth of the fire fading as they went. The bed was a massive thing of dark wood, piled high with blankets. Rob drifted off quickly, but Isla lay awake, staring at the shadows the candle cast on the wall. Somewhere in the distance, a soft, lilting voice sang Silent Night. The sound was faint, almost lost beneath the wind, but it was there. A child's voice, sweet and cold. She sat up, holding her breath. The singing stopped. Rob, she whispered, shaking his shoulder. He groaned but didn't wake. She slid out of bed, her bare feet flinching at the cold floorboards. The hallway beyond the bedroom was dark. At the end of it, she could just make out the staircase leading to the attic. A soft thud came from above. Compelled by a mixture of dread and curiosity, Isla climbed the stairs. Each step creaked under her weight, but the sounds were swallowed by the wind outside. At the top, attic door was slightly ajar. She pushed it open. Moonlight filtered through a cracked window, illuminating the room in silver and shadow. The air was colder here, biting and stale. In the centre of the room stood a small table set for 4. Plates and cutlery were neatly arranged, and melted wax dripped from long dead candles. 4 chairs surrounded the table. 3 were empty. The 4th was occupied. A little girl with braided hair sat there, her hands resting primly in her lap. Her skin was pale as frost, her eyes dark and hollow. She smiled. "We've been waiting," the girl whispered. Isla's breath caught in her throat. She stumbled back, her hand flying to her mouth. From the shadows, a man stepped forward, his face gaunt, his eyes hollow pits of despair. Beside him, a woman and a boy emerged, their faces twisted into fixed, broken smiles. "We just want Christmas to be perfect again," the woman said, her voice brittle. "Stay with us," the man added. "It's tradition." Isla's screams caught in her throat as the cold hands closed around her wrists. The hands squeezed tighter, the cold seeping into her bones. She tried to pull away, but the grip was unyielding. The little girl's smile widened, revealing teeth that were sharp, jagged and too white. "You'll help us make it perfect," the girl hissed. The woman's hollow eyes glinted as she leaned in close. "They ruined our Christmas," she whispered, her breath like icy needles on Isla's cheeks. "The storm came, and we were trapped here. No one came to save us. We waited and waited, until hunger turned to madness." The man's gaunt face twisted. "We just wanted one perfect meal," he rasped. "One perfect day." Isla's knees buckled. The shadows around the room writhed and thickened, closing in. The air filled with scraping sound of knives against plates, the clinking of glasses, the soft rustle of fabric as though unseen guests were settling into their seats. A chorus of whispers rose up, echoing in her ears. "Stay, stay, stay." The man raised his hand. Isla's body froze, her limbs heavy and unresponsive. The ghosts closed in around her, their faces twisting into masks of desperation and hunger. Suddenly, the wind outside howled louder, rattling the cabin. The window cracked and splintered, an icy gust bursting through. The candle flames flickered wildly, casting frantic shadows on the walls. The little girl's smile faltered. The man and woman exchanged nervous glances, their gaunt faces stretched with fear. Rob's voice echoed from the hallway. Isla, where are you?" He appeared at the doorway, his eyes widening in terror at the sight before him. "Rob." Isla's voice broke, her eyes pleading. "Help me." The ghost turned to Rob, their hollow eyes locking onto him. The little girl hissed, her form flickering like a dying light. "You're too late," she sneered. Rob lunged forward, grabbing Isla's arm and pulling with all his strength. The cold hands clawed at her, but cracks of light splintered through the shadows. "You don't belong here," Rob shouted. The ghosts shrieked as the shadows shattered, and a blinding burst of white light engulfed the attic. Then everything went silent. When Isla opened her eyes, they were standing outside in the snow. The cabin's windows were dark, the door firmly shut. "Let's go," Rob whispered, his voice shaking. They stumbled back to the car, the snow closing in behind them, erasing their footprints. The cabin stood silent once more, waiting for next Christmas and the next guests. Thank you for joining me in this tale of the ghosts of Christmas Cabin. If you enjoyed this story and want more haunting holiday horrors, don't forget to like, subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss a scare. And remember, not every gift under the tree brings joy, and not every cabin in the woods is meant to be visited. Stay safe, stay warm, and happy holidays.